thinking about this. There are a variety of ways to go. You came out and you said the NBA, trouble, man, trouble ahead. You got to do something. Now, It's interesting because they've signed this huge deal. They've gotten the bag. They've gotten the $76 billion, unless, I don't know, some regulatory agency says that they've got an issue with Warner Brothers. I don't think that will happen. So they have the money. Adam Silver has done what he should do. You're sounding the alarm, though, that this is a little tenuous. I think it's really interesting that you were sounding that alarm, Nick, because you're somebody who talks about sports and has finger on the pulse of what people are into. Are you detecting a bit of a slide of the NBA from the national conversation? Is that rooted a bit in what you're saying?
So a few things led to it. One of them was my own lack of excitement. I was like, oh, that's a problem. It's like NBA season was opening night. And I was like, like I cared, but I wasn't in the NBA. If for almost my whole life, the NBA was my clear number one. I think a lot of people, still associate me more with the NBA than the NFL because they got to know me because of my LeBron takes on Cowherd. And so like that was a concern, but the other two things are just obvious to me. And it was so annoying because these self-important Celtic fans and media and bloggers are like, oh, the Celtics are so good. Nick Wright wants to change rules. Boston folks, I honest to God, do not give a shit about if you guys win the next 3 titles. I had a position years ago that the Celtics I thought were a bit of a Danny Ainge was running a bit of a hope-based Ponzi scheme and was always, and so I made the point that they had not had the success that I thought people thought they would have, and they won the title. And so, years later, so bully for them. It's nothing to do with Boston. It's a very obvious point that I made sitting on stage at a Sloan Analytics conference to Daryl Morey 6 years ago, which was I saw this train coming down the tracks. I was like, hey, obviously 3s are worth more than 2. And you are figuring out, and it's just going to snowball, that there's probably no upper bound to how many 3s you should shoot. That is the right way to win. Your job, the coach's job, is to win. However, the reason you want to be the coach or the GM is because those jobs pay millions of dollars. And those jobs pay millions of dollars while the coach and the GM of an ultimate Frisbee team pay nothing because the NBA is a good television product. And I'm here to tell you 100 threes a game is a bad television product. What do you do? And Daryl said, honestly, not my job to worry about that. My job's to win. It's the league's job. If they need to change the rules, change the rules. And I'm here to tell you, better fucking change the rules. Because it is no different than if midway through last season, the Eagles, instead of going into a spiral, had got the tush push to where instead of it being an automatic 1.5 yards, it was an automatic 4 yards. And so they ran it every play of the game.
It's not football anymore.
It would be up to the league to snap change the rules. And if they didn't, it's like, well, whatever. And then at the beginning of this year, half the league's offense was the tush push. You got to snap change rules. And when you have incentivized an athlete as dynamic and explosive as Anthony Edwards, start shooting 12 threes a game, you're going to turn off your audience. Because at its core, what makes the NBA, every sport has its own thing that makes it special. And the NBA, the best athletes in the world That's if the league has a tagline, best athletes in the world, and that means dunking on people. That means that a style, and where everyone doesn't play the exact same style. It's just bad for TV. And so that's one major concern that I said, if Adam Silver needs to be a wartime consigliere and take a page out of baseball's book. I don't care how intermittently unpopular this is. We are drastically changing the rules, because just like in baseball, the smart thing was the shift and this and that and all that. And he's like, well, okay, great. The fans don't like it. It's bad for the TV product. We are the entertainment industry, so we're going to change the rules. So that's what I think it's obvious.
100% agreement. And I think baseball got there because it's less popular with media people than basketball, which resulted in more pressure to do something. I think if there were more alarm bells ringing off about, hey, what's up with the NBA, then the NBA would have felt a little more inclined to drastically change. And I think it was good of baseball to make those changes and to prioritize aesthetics. I don't think anybody right now, or at least very few people, are going, oh, I miss all those shifts. I want all those shifts back. I need all those shifts back in my life. I think people like it when the batter rockets something right up the middle that it's a hit, as opposed to a guy is just standing there. And I think it's good to preserve that and to just have something that feels like the sport. I think sometimes when people criticize analytics, and they almost make this different argument than what they're feeling, they're saying it doesn't work. I think that happened with the Celtics. I think there was too much Celtics doubt on what people might have been saying. Well, not saying, it was really more, I kind of don't like this.
I don't want it to work. Right. Yes. Or it works too well. Or it's just like, it is. And listen, I'm saying there are a few like drastic changes they could make. So the one everybody says is eliminate the corner three, have the arc be a true arc. Yeah. I don't think that's a far enough measure. There's the one I said on the pod, which I sure as hell would like to see him try. I don't know. It's the simplest thing, because the obvious one is change the scoring from 3s and 2s to 4s and 3s. That instantly fixes it. But A, people hate math, and B, it ruins the record books. So it's not going to happen. Making dunks worth 3 as well is a interesting way to try to split it. And the other one is, listen, do whatever you want, but just so you know, every team is capped at 15 shots a game that count for 3 points. So once you know what I mean, do it as fast, however you want to do it. But just so you know, you are maxed out so it's not like the points won't count anymore, but there'll be 2s. Like you're capped. And so, and I came up with the number 15 kind of off the top of my head, but like I don't know if it was Holland. I get them confused all the time, so I apologize. I don't know if it was Goldsberry or Hollinger, the one who suggested years ago, every team picks their own 3-point line. Like a baseball stadium, you pick your own, outfield fence. He's like, you want to have no 3-point line? So be it. You want to have a 3-point line that's at half court? You want to and you can change it just yearly, but based on the strengths of your team. So and so you're 41 games a year. So you would have to build a team that can work in a bunch of different environments, just like there's different baseball, the Green Monster, the short porch at Yankee Stadium. It's like, oh, that's interesting. But it's going to take something seismic, because this is just going to get, right now, I think there's 20 teams that take more 3s than the 2017 Warriors. It's insane how quickly it has gotten there. And then the other one is, do the guys actually want to play games? Which is a problem in and of itself.
Yeah, I would hope they would take all this money and make the reforms that they seem to have the capital to be able to make. I was even feeling some of what you were feeling watching that great Steph versus returning Clay, where the emotions were incredible, and it seems like that was a very ugly breakup that they have to pretend wasn't an ugly breakup, which is interesting in of itself. And even then, at points in that game, it just feels like flipping coins. Like one long three, does it go in? One long three,
yes.
does it miss? And even then, I was feeling a little bit of that decadence, all the while enjoying how spectacular that game finished.
And also the other thing the NBA, I really think needs to do is, since they've now signed the new deal, take it on the chin ratings wise and stop focusing and showcasing your three superstars who are 36 plus, Steph, LeBron, and KD, and prime the audience. Make Anthony Edwards and Tatum and Luka and these other guys feel important because they're getting the big time slots throughout the year, because they are on 4 years of borrowed time from LeBron. It is a miracle this dude's still playing. And all of NBA history tells us Steph should have been bad 2 years ago. And that by NBA history precedent, this should be Steph's last year. It obviously won't be. But they have really been living off, LeBron and Steph, and to a lesser extent Durant, for so long that they can't. I almost look at it like, in a weird way, not to be political, but like get political again. But it's like, if we're running out of fossil fuels, and it's like, man, but people love them and they're easy. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But in the meantime, should we try to, transition some people?
I thought you were going to compare one of the stars to Biden. I can't even believe he's taking.
No, because these guys are still great. But it's like, we know the end is coming at some point. Should we get people prepared for the next thing? And they don't seem interested in it. And then you have I think there are a lot of flashing red lights for the league. And I think when the most popular sport is a sport where guys fight and claw to be able to play in every game, it's a tough juxtaposition to preliminarily ruled out. And by the way, since we've been doing this load management stuff, we've seen no decrease in injuries. We've seen none of the supposed benefits from it.
Yes. I wonder, let's talk a little bit about baseball, because I think it's a very underplayed story that baseball, their championship, is getting more watched than basketball. Obviously, if you have Dodgers, Yankees, that's going to be a special situation. But think of all those games got more viewership than NBA Finals has for years. And I think we've talked about how this weirdness of baseball not being a national sports talk show sport, right? And you guys had the rights for that World Series, so I'm sure you thought deeply about it. I wonder, is it crazy to think, could you just manifest baseball as something we talk about throughout the week? Is that impossible? Or does it just take some vision for somebody to go, I think I can make it happen. We're bringing baseball back. NBA is on the wane a bit. We got Ohtani, we got Judge. It could be part of the scroll.
It could. I think I'm very interested to see how it's treated next year. Like next year, because the other thing baseball is going for it is, during its season, is when there's no football. Obviously the end of their season there's football, but in the lead up to the season and then the bulk of the season there's no football. So we're always searching for topics on the show. So does the fact that these playoffs were so great and the World Series was Yankees Dodgers, does that lead to, the Aaron Judge how much pressure is he under to deliver this year the way we would with other athletes, except for, of course, Lamar Jackson, who, if you question his postseason resume, you're just a total hater who doesn't understand his brilliance. But we do it to Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Aaron Judge, who have the identical postseason and regular season resumes. But that's a different take for another day.